The 25th of September, 1899, Volume 2. Louisa, Defender of Jesus and of Creatures. In my mind I was thinking, if these writings ended up in someone's hands, this person may say, she must be a good Christian if the Lord gives her so many graces, not knowing that in spite of all this I am still so bad. Here is how people can deceive themselves, both in good and in evil. Ah, Lord, you alone know the truth and the depths of the hearts. While I was thinking of this, blessed Jesus came and told me, and beloved, my beloved, and what if people knew that you are my defender and theirs? And I, my Jesus, what are you saying? And he, what, is it not true that you defend me from the pains that they give me by placing yourself between me and them, and that you take upon yourself the blow that I am about to receive, as well as that which I should pour down upon them? And if sometimes you do not receive it upon yourself, it is because I do not allow it, and this to your great sorrow, to the point of lamenting to me. Can you perhaps deny it? No, Lord, I cannot deny it, but I see that it is something that you yourself have infused in me. This is why I say that it is not because I am good, and I feel all confused in hearing you speak these words to me. End of the reading.
The 25th of September 1913, Volume 11. The divine will, not the Holy Eucharist, is the centre and the life of the soul. The divine will gives life to the sacraments and encloses them within itself. I had told my confessor that Jesus had said to me that the will of God is the centre of the soul, that this centre is in the depth of the soul, and that spreading its rays like the sun, it gives light to the mind, sanctity to the actions, strength to the steps, life to the heart, power to the word and to everything. And not only this, but also that while this centre, the will of God, is inside of us, so that we may never escape from it, and so as to remain at our continuous disposal, never leaving us alone or separated even for a minute, at the same time, it is also in front of us, on our right, on our left, behind, and everywhere, and it will be our centre also in heaven. The confessor was saying instead that the Most Holy Eucharist is our centre. Now, blessed Jesus came and told me, my daughter, I had to do in such a way that sanctity might be easy and accessible to all, unless they did not want it, in all conditions, in all circumstances, and in every place. It is true that the Most Holy Eucharist is centre, but who instituted it? Who constrained my humanity so that it might be enclosed within the little circle of a host? Wasn't that my will? My will always have primacy over everything. Further, if everything is in the Eucharist, the priest who calls me from heaven into their hands and who are in contact with my sacramental flesh more than anyone, should be the most saintly and the most good. Instead, many are the worst. Poor me, how they treat me in the Holy Eucharist. And the many souls who receive me, perhaps every day, should be many saints if the centre of the Eucharist was sufficient. Instead, and it makes one want to cry, they remain always at the same point, vain, irascible, punctilious, etc. Poor centre of the Most Holy Eucharist, how dishonoured it remains. On the other hand, there might be a mother who does my will and cannot receive me every day because of her conditions, not because she doesn't want to. She is patient, charitable, and carries the fragrance of my Eucharistic virtues within herself. Ah, is it perhaps the sacrament, or rather my will, to which she is submitted, that keeps her subdued and compensates for the most holy sacrament. Even more, I tell you that the sacraments themselves produce fruits depending on how the souls are submitted to my will. They produce effects according to the connection that the souls have with my volition. And if there's no link with my will, they may receive communion, but they will remain on an empty stomach. They may go to confession, but they remain still dirty. They may come before my sacramental presence, but if our wills do not meet, I will be as if dead for them, because my will produces all the goods and gives life even to the sacraments, only in the soul who submits herself to it. Those who do not understand this are babies in religion. End of the reading.
The 25th of September 1914, Volume 11. The prayer done with Jesus and with his will is extended to all. I was offering my poor prayers to Blessed Jesus, and I was thinking to myself to whom it would be better for Blessed Jesus to apply them. Kindly, he told me, "My daughter, the prayers done with me and with my will can be given to all, without excluding anybody. All receive their part and their effects as if those prayers had been offered for one single person. However, they operate according to the dispositions of the creatures. I give communion or my passion to all and to each one, but the effects are produced according to their dispositions, and if 10 people receive it, the fruit is not inferior to the case in which only 5 had received it. Such is the prayer done together with me and with my will." End of the reading. The 25th of September 1918, Volume 12, Office of Victim. I was very afflicted, and I felt a force within my interior which made me want to come out of my usual state. Oh, what pain! I felt a mortal agony. Only Jesus can know the torment of my soul. I have no words to express it. Besides, I want Jesus alone to know all my pains, and therefore I move on. Now, while I was swimming amid bitternesses, my lovable Jesus came, all afflicted, and placing a finger on my mouth, told me, "I have made you content. Be quiet. Don't you remember how many times I showed you great mortality, cities depopulated, almost deserted, and you told me, 'No, don't do this, and if you really want to do it, you must allow them to have the time to receive the sacraments?' I am doing that. What else do you want? But the heart of man is hard and not completely tired. Man has not yet touched the summit of all evils, and therefore he is not yet satiated. So he does not surrender, and looks with indifference even upon the epidemic. But these are the preludes. The time will come, it will come, when I will make this evil and perverted generation almost disappear from the earth." I was shaking in hearing this, and I prayed. I wanted to ask Jesus, "And I, what should I do?" But I did not dare. Then Jesus added, "What I want is that you do not dispose yourself to doing it, although being free you can do it. I want you at the mercy of my will. During these last days, it was I who pushed you to go out of your usual state. I wanted to widen the scourge of the epidemic, and I did not want to keep you in it, in order to be more free." End of the reading. The 25th of September, 1920, Volume 12, The Truth is Light, Simile of the Sun. Finding myself in my usual state, I saw my always lovable Jesus, as if he were placing a globe of light in my interior. Then he told me, "My daughter, my truth is light, and in communicating it to souls who are limited beings, I communicate my truths with a limited light, since they are not capable of receiving immense light. However, it happens as with the sun. While it appears up there in the heavens as a limited, circled globe of light, the light which it spreads invades the whole earth. It warms, it fecundates. So it is impossible for man to count the plants fecundated and the lands illuminated and warmed by the sun. While he can see it up high in the heavens in the twinkling of an eye, he cannot see where its light ends up, nor the good which it does. The same happens with the sons of the truths which I communicate to the souls. They appear as limited within them, but as soon as these truths come out, how many souls do they not touch? This is why you saw me place a globe of light inside of you. These are my truths which I communicate to you. Be attentive in receiving them, and more attentive in communicating them, in order to give course to the light of my truths. Now, returning to pray, I found myself in the arms of my celestial Mama, who caressed me, squeezing me to her lap. But then I don't know how I forgot about her, and I was lamenting that all had abandoned me. And Jesus flying by told me, "Just a little while ago my Mama was here who squeezed you in her arms with great love." And as he said that, I remembered. The same happens with me. How many times I come and you forget about it. Could I perhaps be without coming? On the contrary, I act like a Mama. When her child sleeps, she kisses and caresses her, though the child does not know anything about it. And when she wakes up, she laments that her Mama did not kiss her and does not love her. That's what you do. Praise be Jesus, author of loving stratagems. End of the reading.
25th of September, 1927, Volume 23. One who lives in the divine will finds no more ways to go out of it, and one who lives in it contains all the seeds of glory that creation possesses. How Jesus calls her with himself to the work of his kingdom. I was feeling myself in the nightmare of the privation of my sweet Jesus, and I thought to myself, I don't know how my beloved Jesus can leave me. Does he not think that I may become more bad without he who is my life, and who alone can infuse in me the life of doing good? He has no more care for anything, whether watching over me, pushing me, or correcting me. While I was thinking of this, my adored Jesus came out from within my interior and told me, "My daughter, it is because I am sure that you cannot go out from within the great sea of my divine will, since I have placed you in it, and you with your full adhesion wanted to enter. Therefore, there are no ways through which you can go out of it, because the boundaries of this sea cannot be found. As much as you move within it, you will find neither its shore nor its end. So I am sure that my little daughter cannot go out from within the sea of my will, and this is why I wander far from within the same sea, and you lose sight of me. But since the sea we are in is one, everything you do has the way to reach me, and as your acts reach me, I am sure that you are in my sea, and this is why I have no care. On the other hand, before I was not sure about you, and this is why I had such great care for watching over you, for pushing you, and I would never leave you, because I did not see you in the depth of the sea of my divine will, from which there is no fear that one may go out. In fact, this is the beauty of living in my divine volition. All dangers and fears are banished. On the other hand, one who lives resigned or does the divine will is always in danger and in fear, and can find many ways that lead him away from the immense sea of the supreme fiat. So I abandoned all of myself in that sea, and I felt happy of being unable to go out of it. My sweet Jesus added, "My daughter, in creation, my omnipotent fiat created many things, placing a good for creatures in each one of them, so as to receive the requital of glory on their part, for as many things as it issued into the light of the day. But do you know in whom was this glory deposited that your Creator awaited? It is in you, my daughter, because by living in my will and possessing it, you possess all the seeds of each glory that each created thing possesses. And therefore, as you go around in the creation, you feel within yourself the good that each created thing contains, and you do your office of releasing from yourself that glory that your Creator awaits with so much love. What harmony, what order, what love, what enchantment of beauty passes between the soul who lives in my will and all things created by me. They are so bound together as to seem inseparable. The soul who lives in my divine volition lives in full daylight, and her acts, her thoughts, her words are nothing other than the reflections of it. The sun of my will is reflected in her more than in a crystal, and so she thinks. It is reflected and she speaks. It is reflected and she operates. It is reflected and she loves. There is nothing greater or more beautiful than a soul who lives of the reflections of this sun. These reflections keep her in communion with the acts of her Creator and in possession of his very goods. Furthermore, you must know that just as my humanity enclosed all the goods of redemption and issued them for the good of the redeemed ones, it also wanted to enclose within itself all the acts and goods of the children of the kingdom of my divine fiat. Therefore, as the soul does her acts in it, I expand her capacity and I place my acts. And so, as she gradually enters my kingdom and keeps emitting her acts, I keep expanding her capacity in order to deposit in her all the acts that my humanity possesses, and so to complete in her the kingdom of my will. Therefore, I call you to work together with me in this my kingdom. I work by preparing the earth. It is necessary to purify it. It is too sullied. There are certain points that do not deserve to exist anymore. So many are their evils. Therefore, it is necessary that both its inhabitants and the sullied earth itself disappear. The kingdom of my divine will is the holiest, the purest, the most beautiful and orderly kingdom that must come upon earth. Therefore, it is necessary that the earth be prepared and purified. And so while I work on purifying it, and if needed, on destroying places and people unworthy of a kingdom so holy, you will work by moving heaven and earth with your acts done in my volition. Your echo will be incessant, and you will make resound in all creation, asking for the kingdom of my fiat with your continuous acts, and if needed, your pains, and even your life, in order to impetrate a good so great and a kingdom that will bring so much happiness. Therefore, mind nothing else but the work we are supposed to do. But in spite of this speaking of Jesus, I felt a fear that he might leave me or wander so far away within this sea of his blessed will, that who knows when he would return to his little one, tortured for love of him. And Jesus, moving in my interior, told me, "Poor little daughter of mine, it really shows how you are a little child who bothers and cares with nothing else but to be in the arms of her mamma. And if, may it never be, her mamma leaves her for a little while, she cries, she's inconsolable, and is all eyes to look for her mamma and fling herself into her arms. So you are, my poor little one. However, you must know that it might be that the mamma leaves her child, but I will never leave my tiny little child. It is my interest not to leave you. I have my will in you. There are my acts, my properties. Therefore, having of my own in you, it is my own interest not to leave you. Rather, my very things call me to you, and I come to enjoy my own things, my divine will reigning in you. Only if I told you, give me what is mine, give me my will, then could you fear that I might leave you. But your Jesus will never tell you this. Therefore, be at peace. End of the reading.
The 25th of September 1932, Volume 31. The divine will calls the life of our Lord into the soul. Abandonment calls his works. Right that the divine will gives to one who lives in it. I am always in the arms of the divine volition, like a little baby who wants to be cradled in the arms of her mamma in order to take her sweet sleep. And if the mamma does not cradle her, the poor tiny one does not feel secure. She is overwhelmed and cries, and she implores the arms of the mother for bed and rest. And only then does she calm down when she obtains her intent. Such am I. I'm the little baby, just newly born, and I feel the great need, in order to be secure, for the arms of the fiat, so as to be cradled and defended. And being inexperienced in its divine sea, because I am just newly born, I feel the need of being guided and of what I must do in its same will. And since I felt oppressed for the privations of my sweet Jesus, and for other incidental happenings, my highest good, Jesus, all goodness, told me, my little newborn of my volition, come into my arms. You are right, that only in my arms can you be secure, nor are there any dangers in my will that more than mamma keeps you clasped to its bosom, to nourish you with its light and with its love. There are neither oppressions, nor sadness, nor fears. These are things outside of my will, not inside of it, where there is nothing other than peace, joy, and continuous aptitude. There is so much to do that the soul can find neither the time nor the place to oppress herself, and then oppression is lack of total abandonment in my arms. Abandonment produces sweet sleep, and in the same sleep she dreams of him whom she loves and who loves her so much that he keeps her clasped to his bosom. On the contrary, oppressions and fears produce wakefulness, and she becomes all eyes in order to look at herself, not at he who loves and is all eyes for her. You must know that doing and living in my will calls my life to be formed in you, and total abandonment in me calls my works. And one who does not live abandoned obstructs my life and my works in her, and I would feel bad if I could not develop what I want to do in the creature. Therefore, abandon yourself totally in me, and I will think of everything. After this, I was doing my round in creation, in order to place my exchange of love for all that had been created and conserved for singular and pure love. And my beloved Jesus added, my daughter, the great structure of the world attached to the great divine structure continually goes round. Animated by our incessant motion, it goes around us in order to give back to us the glory, the honour, and the love with which they came forth from us. So we are in the midst of our works, that while they go around us, they praise our Supreme Being with secret and ancient voices. So we feel our life scattered in created things, and we feel given back to us the heartbeat of our love, the profundity of our adoration, the cortege of our glory, the aureola of our effulgent beauty, the life of our light. Now, one who goes around in our works unites herself to give us all that the whole creation gives us. My divine will gives her a place in all created things in order to do what they do, also done for her. And it happens that as she goes around, she takes more love, more light of knowledge, and embellishes herself more. It is an enchantment to see that as she goes around, she takes into herself the life of her Creator and copies it. And my divine fiat gives her the right of keeping her place of honour in its works. One who lives in our will is inseparable from us, and from the greatest to the least work created by us, its creative and unitive strength unites her with everything, with an indissoluble and perennial bond. End of the reading. There are no more readings today. Have a blessed day.